You ever lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering, is this it now? That quiet frustration, that sense of being disconnected from the man you used to be, it creeps in slowly, doesn't it? One night, you realize the strength you used to wake up with is gone. Not just physically, but emotionally too. It's like your body decided to go quiet and no one told you why. But what if I told you it's not your fault? And even better, what if I told you there's something simple, something natural you can do tonight, something that could help wake your body back up? Not a pill, not a procedure, just one spoon before bed. And what it does to your blood flow, well, I've seen it change men's lives. Now, I've been in practice a long time. My name is Dr. Edward, and I spent over 35 years helping men here in Greenville, South Carolina regain their vitality, their circulation, their strength as men. I've treated thousands, truck drivers, retired teachers, veterans, grandfathers, men who quietly ask the same question, Doc, is there still hope? And every time, my answer has been yes. Because once you understand what's really happening inside your body, you can begin to change it. And tonight, I'm going to show you one of the simplest, most powerful bedtime habits I've ever discovered. It involves something you already have at home and a surprising natural partner that works with it to nourish your blood, support your nitric oxide levels, and help your manhood feel strong again. It's not hype. It's not instant magic, but it's real, it's natural, and it starts working the moment it enters your system. So before we go any deeper, let me ask you for two small things. First, subscribe and click that bell, because what you're about to learn, well, it only gets more interesting from here. I've got much more coming that I don't want you to miss. Second, write in the comments which city you're watching from. I read every comment, and it helps me know who I'm talking to. Maybe you're in Chicago or a small town in Texas. Wherever you are, I want you to know you're not alone. And what we're going to talk about tonight might just change the way you see yourself. Now, back to this one spoon. You probably use this ingredient your whole life, maybe in salad dressings, maybe in marinades, but never like this. Because when it's mixed with something else, something sitting right next to it in your cabinet, its effects change. It becomes a blood-boosting, artery-cleansing tonic that supports everything from your heart to your, well, you know? And no, I'm not being dramatic. I've watched men who hadn't had a full, natural erection in months suddenly start waking up with morning wood again. But I'm not going to dump everything on you at once. That's not how healing works. What I'll do instead is walk you through the real reasons your blood flow has slowed, why that spark in your manhood feels dimmed, and how this simple nightly ritual starts to flip those internal switches back on. Because here's the truth, your body still wants to perform. It just needs the right signal. And this one spoon, well, it's one of the clearest, gentlest signals I've ever seen. So stay with me, my friend. In the next part, we're going to get into what's really going on inside your blood vessels, inside your penis, and inside your mind when things start to slow down, and how, step by step, we bring that fire back. Naturally, safely, with dignity. Let's talk about your blood vessels for a minute, because that's really where everything starts and where most men begin to slip without even realizing it. Picture your blood vessels like plumbing. When you were younger, those pipes were wide open. Water, meaning blood, rushed through without resistance. It filled your muscles, your brain, and yes, your penis with everything they needed to perform. But as you've gotten older, something subtle but powerful has been happening inside those pipes. They've been narrowing, stiffening, clogging. You might not feel it the same way you'd feel chest pain from a heart attack. But trust me, you're feeling it in other ways. Less firmness, less energy, less desire. Maybe you've chalked it up to stress or age. And sure, those play a role. But the root cause? It's circulation. That's the quiet villain. And it's also the most reversible. Now, I know some doctors will tell you, well, you're just getting older. That's normal. I've never liked that answer. Because while aging is natural, decline doesn't have to be. What I've learned, what I've seen, is that your body is still very much capable. But it's like a classic car engine that's been sitting in the garage too long. The parts are still there. The design is brilliant. But without the right fuel, without oil in the engine, it won't fire up. And that fuel is blood. Healthy, oxygen-rich, nitric oxide-supported blood. When blood stops moving properly, especially to your lower half, everything slows down. Not just your erections, your confidence, your drive, even your memory and mood. I've had men walk into my office feeling defeated, confused, not because they didn't care about their health, but because no one ever told them how circulation really affects everything. Here's a simple way to understand it. Imagine trying to fill a balloon through a straw that's been pinched. You blow and blow, but nothing happens. That's what's going on inside your penis when blood vessels are tight or inflamed. It's not a desire issue. It's not a hormone issue. It's a plumbing issue. And you know what's worse? That poor circulation feeds on itself. Less blood means less oxygen to tissues. Less oxygen means more inflammation. More inflammation means weaker blood flow. It's a vicious cycle. But here's the good news. It can be reversed. That's where tonight's method comes in. A spoonful of something that begins the process of cleaning out those pipes. Something that's been studied for its ability to increase nitric oxide, reduce inflammation, and help the blood move where it needs to go without the side effects of medication. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. But before we get there, let me pull the curtain back on one more truth. A truth that most men never hear. It's not just your penis that's affected when blood flow declines. It's your entire identity. Think about it. When you feel strong down there, you walk differently. You sit taller. You feel connected. But when things go quiet, you start to second-guess yourself. You wonder if your best days are behind you. That doubt creeps into how you talk to your partner, how you carry yourself around other men, how you see yourself in the mirror. But here's what I want you to know. That man you used to be, the one who felt solid, virile, alive, he's still in there. I've seen too many men waking back up with just a few simple changes. And it starts with nourishing your blood, feeding those arteries, relaxing those vessels, helping nitric oxide return to its rightful place as the ignition key to your manhood. Because without it, no matter how much you want to respond, nothing happens. But with it, you'd be surprised how quickly things begin to stir again. So let me ask you, what if it really is that simple? What if this nightly habit, this one spoonful, started you on a path back to the best parts of yourself? In the next part, I'll share the exact remedy. Not a theory, a step-by-step method that's helped thousands of men just like you. One that you can start tonight. And trust me, it only gets more interesting from here. I remember one gentleman. His name was Carl. He was 72, retired military, tough as nails on the outside. But when he sat across from me in the clinic, he had a quiet look in his eyes that told a different story. He leaned in, dropped his voice, and said, "Doc, it's like the light switch is there, but nothing flips on anymore. I still feel desire. I still feel love for my wife. But nothing happens." That kind of honesty takes courage. And it's more common than most men think. Because it's not just about sex. It's about feeling alive. Feeling like yourself again. Like your body still knows what it's supposed to do. That's what Carl wanted. Not just performance, but response. So I asked him something simple. "Carl," I said, "do you keep apple cider vinegar in your kitchen?" He looked at me a little confused and said, "Yeah, I think so. My wife uses it for cooking." What he didn't realize, what most men don't realize, is that apple cider vinegar, when taken the right way and at the right time, can be one of the most powerful natural allies for blood flow, energy, and yes, stronger erections. But it's not the vinegar alone. It's what you mix it with. That's the secret. And this is where we begin. Each night before bed, Carl began taking 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar mixed with warm water. But here's the twist. I told him to add one other ingredient, a spoon of raw honey. Now, I know that sounds almost too simple, but the science behind this is powerful. Apple cider vinegar helps balance your body's internal pH, especially if you've been eating a typical Western diet. When your body leans acidic, your blood vessels constrict. It's like tightening a hose. But when your internal environment is gently rebalanced, something vinegar does very well, those vessels start to relax. They expand. They allow blood to move freely again. And the honey? That's not just for taste. Raw honey contains natural enzymes and antioxidants that help reduce inflammation and feed your liver the nutrients it needs to regulate testosterone and blood sugar. When your blood sugar spikes at night, it can disrupt nitric oxide and kill morning erections. But honey keeps things steady. It supports that hormonal rhythm your body used to have when you were younger. So we started simple. 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, 1 teaspoon of raw honey, warm water. Drink it 30 to 60 minutes before bed. And then sleep. What happened next? Well, that's where things got interesting. About 10 days later, Carl came back into my office. This time he wasn't just quiet. He was smiling. I don't want to jinx it, he said, but Doc, something's happening. I'm not just waking up easier. I feel things again. I didn't think I ever would. What Carl was describing, what so many of my patients have felt, is the quiet return of life. It's subtle at first, a warmth, a bit more sensitivity, then a stirring in the morning, and then something even deeper, confidence. Because when your blood flows better, when your body starts responding again, something changes in your mind. You stand differently. You look your wife in the eye again. You stop hiding. And that shift is everything. But that was only the beginning. Because what Carl didn't know, what I hadn't yet told him, is that this vinegar and honey drink doesn't just help with circulation. It starts preparing the body for the next level. A level where nitric oxide production returns, where nerves start to fire again, and where the brain and body begin to resync. And yes, that's exactly what we'll talk about next. Because in part 4, I'll tell you about the second method, something even more powerful that I often combine with this nightly drink to accelerate blood flow and support full, natural erections in men over 60. Carl tried it. Others have too. And what happened next? Well, it might just surprise you even more. Stay with me. We're just getting started. The change I saw in Carl reminded me of another man. Different story, same struggle. His name was Dennis. Dennis was 69 when he first walked into my office. Former school principal, meticulous, always wore a watch that ran exactly 10 minutes ahead. But when it came to his body, nothing fell on time anymore. No more morning stirrings. No spontaneos moments. And he didn't just feel frustrated. He felt invisible. I don't know when it happened, Doc, he said, but I feel like my manhood just stopped. Now, by this point in my career, I've heard that sentence more times than I can count. But every time it hits me, because behind those words is something deeper than sex. It's about identity, about presence, about being seen. I told Dennis what I'm about to tell you. Your manhood didn't stop. It froze. The signals, hormonal, neurological, vascular, they're still there. But they've gone quiet. Like an engine that hasn't been turned over in a while. And sometimes it takes more than just nutrition to get it going again. It takes stimulation, not from pills, but from touch. Specifically, something I call the warm circulation massage. And here's where the magic happens. Each night, about 30 minutes after Dennis drank his vinegar and honey mixture, I taught him a simple technique using one thing: castor oil. This thick, golden oil, often forgotten on the back of the shelf, is one of nature's most powerful circulatory stimulants, but only when used the right way. I had Dennis warm a small spoonful of castor oil, just enough to make it slightly warmer than body temperature. Then, using his fingertips, he'd apply it to his lower abdomen, just below the navel and around the groin area. No rubbing, no rushing, just slow, circular pressure, about the size of a quarter, over the soft tissue where blood vessels feed the pelvic floor. What happens next is subtle, but real. Castor oil contains ricinoleic acid, a compound that penetrates deep into tissues, softening fascia, opening lymphatic channels, and coaxing blood vessels back to life. For men like Dennis, who hadn't felt anything down there in months, the first sign was a tingling warmth. But here's what made this technique even more effective. I told Dennis to place a warm towel over the area after the massage. Just 10 minutes of gentle heat, lying still, letting the oil sink in and do its work. Within 3 weeks, Dennis came back different. Not just in his body, but in his spirit. He said, "It's strange, but I feel grounded again. Like I'm waking up in a body I remember." That's what this is about. Because you can have the best eye in the world, take all the supplements, do the right workouts, but if your pelvic tissues are tight, congested, inflamed, or oxygen-starved, none of it matters. You need that local restoration, the kind that gets blood moving not just to your heart, but to your manhood. And when you do this nightly castor oil massage, paired with the vinegar and honey drink, you're working from both ends, internally nourishing the blood and externally unblocking its path. It's not fast, it's not flashy, but it's real, it's reliable, and it respects your body at this stage of life. Dennis still checks in with me every few months, still meticulous, still wears that watch. But now he jokes, "I don't need it as much. I'm always on time again, in every way." This isn't just about physical change. It's about restoration of dignity, of confidence, of connection. And now you have the second half of the method. Castor oil, warmth, gentle pressure, night after night, waking up what time had put to sleep. In the final part, I'll show you exactly how to put these two methods together, avoid the most common mistakes, and share one final story that ties it all together. You're almost there. And trust me, the best part is still to come. So how do you apply these two methods properly? Start with a drink. Each night, about an hour before bed, mix 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar with 1 teaspoon of raw honey in a cup of warm, not hot, water. Stir gently and sip slowly. Do this on an empty stomach, ideally at least an hour after dinner. This primes your blood vessels, supports nitric oxide, and sets the stage for healing. About 30 minutes later, take a teaspoon of warm castor oil and massage it gently into the lower abdomen and groin area. Use small circular motions, no pressure, just presence. After massaging for 5 minutes, place a warm, damp towel over the area and lie still for 10 more minutes. Let the heat and oil do their work. I had one patient, Harold, 74, who followed this routine every night for a month. He emailed me out of the blue one morning. "Doc, I woke up the old me. My wife cried. I thought it was gone forever." Another man, Jerome, 68, had struggled with nighttime urination and loss of sensitivity. After just 2 weeks of this combo, not only was he sleeping through the night, he told me, "I feel connected again, like my body and I are on speaking terms." But here's the key: don't rush. Don't expect fireworks overnight. Some men feel the change in days. For others, it's a quiet return, like spring after a long winter. Common mistakes? Skipping nights, using refined vinegar, forgetting the warmth, or expecting a quick fix. This isn't a shortcut. It's a signal, a message to your body. I'm here. Ikare. Let's wake back up. If you want more natural, proven methods like this, like the video, subscribe, and comment one below so I know you're serious about reclaiming your strength. You're not broken, my friend. You're simply being asked to reconnect. And with the right care, the right rhythm, and a little patience, Your best days can still lie ahead.